but they were talking a little bit about how many houses are funded by this government. And it's interesting with all the criticisms they had of the last guys and what the last guys were up to and how the last guys have impacted the planning for various policies. They're pretty keen to own the last guy's funding and decisions made for building houses in their term. Have a listen. It's only 60 seconds or so.
The net result this year, how many new state houses will be built in Auckland this year?
Can't remember off the top of my head in terms of Auckland. We've
Why would
delivered
you not know
2,000 in Auckland.
Those are funded under the last government, though.
Yeah, funded under the last government.
So,
yeah.
so
we'll get to 3,000 by the time of the next election, which was the commitment we gave on the 2023 election.
But when you'll get to 3,000, how many of those are funded by the previous government?
Well,
2,000.
Yes, some of them will be.
Well,
yeah.
there's not really a commitment, is it? I mean, so you said in the last election campaign that you would continue to increase the state public housing stock in Auckland by building new stock at least the current net build rate of 1,000 houses a year.
Yes, and we'll get to 3,000.
But 2,000 were funded under the last government.
Yeah, well, we inherit.
It's not really the spirit of the pledge, is it?
Funding continue. I mean, we inherited funding settings from the previous government. Budget 2023 funneled money into social housing in Auckland and in other parts of the country.
Okay.
We took a range of budget savings in budget 2024, but there's
but if you're saying you're going to build 3,000 houses in Auckland,
budget.
And actually you've only funded 1,000 houses, and the previous 2,000 were funded by the last government.
There's an upcoming budget, and there's an upcoming budget in 2026 as well.
Yes.
And as I say, we've got
houses take time to build.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got quite big fundamental changes happening to the social housing system. And it is really important we get that right, because the system isn't working.
Okay.
Right, 20,000 people are on the register.
So
I do like watching wee Jack have a bit of a giggle. Even he knows how ridiculous that is, that they're promising to build 1,000 houses a year, and after the first 3 years, they can take credit for 1,000 if we get there. That's by the end of next year. So technically, last year and this year are on Labour. Next year, they're 1,000 if they get there. Hilarious.
I've said this before. Why would a politician go on Jack's show and not be across such an obvious question of how many state houses have you built in our major metropolitan area? Like, I could forgive it if he went, well, how many social houses have you built in Dunedin? I don't know, Dunedin, all the way tucked down there. Who knows? I know how many I've cancelled. Cancelled a whole bunch of developments in Dunedin. We've still got people sleeping in the Oval, under tents, going into yet another winter. You remember when I went on that crusade last year?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Guess what? It's coming back again. We've still got people living in tents. This is the thing. A government could act with urgency. A government could see this for the emergency that it is. Our housing crisis emergency, people sleeping in cars, was something that we were criticising, not on BHN because it didn't exist at that point, but I was certainly criticising the government way back when it was Paula Bennett and John Key saying there is no housing crisis. People sleep in their cars because they want to.